could be larger than life, bigger than the world, living out the hopes and dreams of every boy and every girl. You could fly higher than the sky, shine brighter than the stars. You could have all you ever wanted, shoot the moon and reach for Mars. You know you could. Yeah, and times are changing everywhere. Do we dream and do we dare? It's up to you, the door is open wide.
Welcome to episode 3 of the Inland Championship. Aside from the usual suspects, we also catch up with the Silver Cup Racing Series and Mid-Vol Historics. But let's get straight into it with our drivers panel. Paul, I'm going to start with you. You've been part of the modified production cars for a while, always in Class B and C, I think it was, and you've made the move now to Class T. How are you finding that?
Well, the Class T car is obviously a lot faster. The handling is different, the brakes are different. The car is nice, it's different, completely different from B and C, but it's a lovely car to drive. It takes a bit of getting used to, but it's really enjoyable.
The EV Dynamics team. You guys are quite a professional looking outfit, and we all enjoy the rest of the team that walks around the pit lane as well. Who is EV Dynamics actually?
EV Dynamics is an electric vehicle company based in Vereniging. They do conversions from petrol to fully electric.
Okay.
In different vehicles.
Cool. And all the team members, who's the hooligan, who's the scientist, who's the engineer?
Or in the race team or in EV Dynamics? The engineer, we all try a little bit. The hooligan is probably Giles. He's crazy when he gets going. But all together, we all party well together.
Justin, if I can ask you, the level of competition at the front of Super Saloons with Devon and Amos, it just seems to be mind-blowing, like anyone can't catch them. And it's almost like the other drivers don't want to participate anymore. Is that the case? And if so, what are the plans for the category?
Well, the feeling that we've got at the moment is that the two young guys that are up front are a little bit too fast for what the others are by the looks of things. The other guys haven't been able to crack the knuckle and beat them. So it seems like some of them have dwindled away and fallen away, but what the focus is at the moment with Super Saloons, we're going to build the mid-pack. That's where we feel that there's a lot of potential for growth. The GT2 class with the turbocharged space frames, the rotaries, there's promise of a lot of them coming back. Probably next year Devon is going to come back with the Lotus again. Almost has been talking about he's definitely going to ride one of the rotary cars. So I think we're going to maybe take a step back in Super Saloon side, but strengthen the mid-pack. And I think we've got a lot of good potential with a lot of good potential cars that are standing at the moment coming back to race without having some of the V8s there.
So just to be clear, from my understanding, it's not just space frames or purpose-built race cars, if I can put it that way. Any type of race car that's built on a monocoque chassis or on a saloon car is eligible, and there's a class for all of them. Is that right? Super
Saloons will accommodate any car or any combination that you've got with very basic rules. The rules are based that before you go out and race, your car can be classed. So there should be no checking afterwards. And I think that's also where the V8s fell short when it came to Super Saloons, is they brought the national rules in. And they brought a lot of negativity into the class, because then, you know, when you're fast, they want to check things afterwards. Where Super Saloons has always been, before the race, we know it's a V8, a V6, 6-cylinder turbo, 4-cylinder. You go out and go and race, and afterwards the guys are buddies. And I think the national side brought a little bit too much into it, where if you were fast then they believed you were cheating. So I think with the way that the rules are, we can accommodate space frame cars, we can accommodate chassis cars, whether they're turbocharged, rotary, aspirated, and I think that's the way forward for us.
So you're going basically back to the clubman's ethos, that it's a place for anybody to race.
Place for anybody to race, come afterwards, come and have a braai together, come and enjoy yourselves and enjoy the spirits of clubmans.
After the break, we chat to Devon Robertson about his recent trip to India. Devon, you're a familiar face to everyone in South African motorsport, but recently a trip to India to go and race in the Volkswagen Amio Cup. Tell us how that happened. Where did this all start?
Well, Mark, 5 to 6 years ago we actually won the Polar Cup Championship. I think it was 2011, which was part of the prize deal at the end of the season, was to win a trip overseas to go and represent SA. And it never really came up, and eventually, like I say, it happened this year, which we were very shocked, but it actually came out. Volkswagen Motorsport put everything together for us. I got a phone call to say your flight is booked, we leave in 2 weeks. I was like, wow, okay. So we didn't count our chickens until it hatched, got to the airport, the flight was actually there, that kind of thing. It was all to surprise. Firstly, just like to thank Volkswagen Motorsport for putting everything together. Big Boss Auto for actually putting every person that works here, pulled their weight, put everything together. Justin's countless hours behind the emails, sending back and forth. My dad for putting all the effort in as well. It was awesome. But that's basically it. It came from winning the championship, and I think we went and represented well. So
how did the event go?
Well, we got there. They promised us all these special times to be on the track, and that I literally got to do it in a rental car. So we did 2 laps of sighting in a rental car, 3 laps in the race car, and we were on the pace already. So I was like, sheesh, awesome track. People say, yeah, no, Midval's bumpy. They should go and see what it is overseas. The track literally had bumps that the car was lifting 2 wheels off the ground. That's how bad the bumps are. But they're only too happy as they've got 2 racetracks over there. So the track was awesome. The facility was nice. We qualified pole. We won the first heat and the second heat. In the start, we had a little bit of coming together with another one of the competitors. So we managed to finish 3rd, but literally was the left front wheel dragging off the car. But it was fun. It was awesome. I really enjoyed myself, and something basically to look forward to.
So is there anything else on the horizon? I know you're back in the Engine Volkswagen Cup locally and you're doing quite well. But as far as Volkswagen Motorsport goes and any international drives, is there talk of anything else that's maybe in the future?
Well, we haven't really heard anything of any further drives in it. I believe you take it as it comes, one day at a time. If something's meant, it'll come. If not, we might carry on with our series, yeah. It is what it is at the end of the day. You can't live in a dream world. But if it happens, I'll only be too glad to hopefully do something. But I mean, also you got to look at your roots, and we are, yeah. So it's the way forward.
Up next, highlights from the Big Boss Auto Super Saloons.
With Devin Robertson with a bit of an issue on his car, he won't be joining this field, unfortunately, and he'll be concentrating on his NGN Volkswagen Cup accolades and looking to take and wrap up that championship in the very near future. He's had an exceptional season, but so have the rest of this field. And as they head down towards turn 1, it looks like it's going to be pretty much plain sailing there for Amos Cockram Jr. at the front end in the big V8. There's no other V8s in the field, so he should be able to get away and just maintain a decent lead. In the mid-pack, though, keep an eye out on the battles that are going to rage here. You've got Mazda Rotaries thrown in there, the big Jaguar, as always, of Brian Hasty. There's always a big crowd pleaser to see that big V8 getting sideways on certain occasions. Marius Jackson in the Audi TT didn't quite get the start he wanted, but watch for him coming through. He's already made up 4 positions and now starting to squeeze up in the GT2 category. You can see that we're going to see a little bit of action, I think, as that GT4 makes its way to the front end, and it's going through rapidly. Side-by-side action, Rian Draper having some fun and games, and it looks like there might be a little bit of an issue there on Martins' car. The individual Mazda not quite going the way it usually does. He normally sits just behind the V8s, and I think he might be having some problems of his own here. Let's keep an eye on that one throughout this first race. You can see them starting to sort things out there. Triple A is Marius Jacobs on the inside, being closed down now by Jackson. The battle of the Marius is there. GT4 versus GT2 as they come through, and now a little bit further up the field, the Audi TT. He's just slowly but surely ticking them off one by one and making his way to the front end. And looks like that Mega Fiber TT might just be squeezing out Rian Draper and moving himself up into a top 3, possibly even a top 2. He's not too far off the back end of that little RX-8 that's just ahead in our shot right now, heading into turn 4. Looks like as we go into this race, Draper has not given up just yet. He comes out of turn 4, heading up the hill, and still wants to have a bit of a fight here. But there, unfortunately, you can see just the power differential there between the 206 and that TT. It's just got straight line speed and will eventually pull away and get up the road, away from the blessed wheels and Auto Classic Peugeot 206. So it's Carl Stoltz who leads things out. Marius Jackson closing in on him now. The Mega Fiber TT looking for a chance to get the Rotrix and Javrek Mazda RX-7 that leads things out at this stage. Stoltz's days are numbered. If you look at the lap times, pretty much similar lap times coming out of them, but we've got about half a second difference there between Jackson and Carl Stoltz. He's going to have a tough time of it in the end. It's a man who's had the toughest time so far. Kind of should have been at the front and leading overall, but the Hoosier V8 of Cockram Jr. with some problems in the mid-pack, now starting to make up some lost ground. And he is now closed up and passed on that AAA recovery car of Marius Jacobs and the Jaguar of Brian Hasty. Nice fight between the two of them. Hasty closing in. Probably just battling to get that big beast around the corners. It's a heavy car, and he loves to get it sideways, does Hasty. And in fact, he got great drive there, and a small mistake from Jacobs nearly cost him in a big way. They're up here with a little bit of very close action from our drone as they head through and down the hill one more time. Hasty looking to close in, maybe have a little dive, but unfortunately it's too little too late. The dive didn't come, the checkered flag is out, and he's going to have to settle for a 7th place overall behind Marius Jacobs there, and that'll be 2nd place in GT2. Great drive from the two of them. GT3 going to Martins. GT4 was Carl Stoltz, Draper taking the GT5s, and Cockram wraps up GTA.
Basically, we arrived here this morning in all best intentions to get the car onto the grid for qualifying, to find that the left front caliper had been leaking overnight. We thought, well, we'll test it just to see. Just push the brake one or two times, and it was literally dripping brake fluid out of the caliper. So we opted to rather not race the car, as we did not need to crash the car, cost ourselves money, and possibly even hurt others on the racetrack. So that's basically why we didn't race today. All thanks to probably a 10 rand seal on the caliper leaking. But it is what it is at the end of the day, and safety comes first.
I was happy with the race. There are a few glitches on the suspension wise and so forth that we need to sort out for the second heat, but yeah, I'm happy with the first place.
So, this time it's Cockram Jr. that leads them out, as he did in the first one, and hopefully he can keep it at the front end for the entire race. He should be able to. There were some small issues on his car, but he got them sorted out and still managed to come through for a top 5 overall in race number 1. Now we go on board with Rian Draper as he applies early pressure onto the back end of Carl Stoltz, and he's fighting hard there. It's not going to be an easy one, I can tell you, because Marius Jacobs is in there, as is Jackson. So the two Mariuses, Draper and Stoltz, fighting hard as they go down into turn 4. And the AAA car, wow, he's recovered dramatically. He is in the AAA recovery center car and heading to the top of the hill. Now hangs on to 2nd. Stoltz is 3rd. Here comes Jackson in 4th, and Draper is 5. Very tight between the two of them. Darby Faree just behind there in the Tata, and then you got Richard Cooley coming through as well. Keep an eye out on him, fighting with Joanne Cockram, who's out there in another 206. Brendan Martins, some issues on that Indy Oil RX-8. I'm not quite sure what the problem is. He's literally just circulating to get as many points as he can. Remember, he is one of 2 GT3s out there, so he's still going to get some decent points and a possibility of maintaining his lead in this championship. It's a great drive here from Jackson. We saw it earlier on, that Mega Fiber TT, and this time he's got a little bit more hassling and hurrying coming from behind as Draper looks for a way through. He's looking pretty tasty, I can tell you. Those 2 little Peugeot 206s on his tail. He can't find a way through on Stoltz. He's a lot closer to Stoltz than what he was in race number 1. And looking to try and maintain that gap, or possibly get ahead and create his own gap. Here comes a move. Oh, very, very close here. I can tell you something, it's not easy to find a way through there on Darby Faree. And Faree is being hounded by the big black cat. Hasn't found a way through, as you can see just in the background, as we follow Draper through G&H Transport Corner. Fighting hard here with Jackson and Stoltz. In the background though, Draper has left a little bit of a gap to himself and Darby Faree. And as he goes around the outside, that is a great move. Hopefully he's good enough on the brakes. Can he squeeze out the TT? No. Not a lot of room being given there, and hardly an inch between those two cars as they came out of turn 2. And the TT just puts on the additional bit of power there and gets away. Still maintaining. Where is he going? No, he's just squeezed in there and found a way to close down on Carl Stoltz. Stoltz is in trouble now. Stoltz could be in some big, big trouble here. In fact, looks like there's a little bit of smoke coming out of that RX-7. And that's allowed Jacobs to get away in the AAA Space Frame Tigra. So this is the battle for 3rd place. Marius Jackson looking for a chance to squeeze through on Stoltz. Look at that, there's big smoke coming out of that RX-7. That is always a concern. As they come down into turn 2 now, Jackson on the inside. Stoltz has got an issue. He's pulled to the sideline and allowed both those cars through. He's going to try and come back at Draper. It looks like it's just going into some of the turns. I'm not quite sure what the problem there is, but he's just losing power in certain sectors. No worries at all here for this man. What a drive from Amos Cockram Jr. He has lapped up to Carl Stoltz, who's in 4th place. And as the checkered flag comes out, he's going to be happy with that victory. Much better in race number 2. Zwartkops taking GT2s. Cooley will take the GT3s with Marius Jackson winning out in the TT for GT4. And Rian Draper takes GT5.
It was an awesome race. It was warm outside, but it was fun. Good times, and yeah, nothing to complain about.
Yeah, I had a very good race. It's my first time in pulling away on second. And yeah, I had some challenges with Karel, but seems to manage to pass him. And we had a good fight, me, Karel and Drapertjie. But I ended up getting past them all and ended up first.
So the family affair, no, they're not father and son, they're actually brothers, the two Lorera boys from BMW. You are now the first guys with an E30 and E36 to break out into Class A with a normally aspirated car. Rick, what does that mean for the rest of the year?
It puts us on a little bit of pressure at the moment, running with a lot of turbo cars. The guys are generally 2 to 3 seconds faster than us in our group, well, Group A. It just means that now we're sort of trying to apply ourselves a bit more. I think we do still have a bit more time in the cars. I suppose just put a bit more practice and try our best. That's all we can do for the rest of the year.
Okay, but you've been fairly consistent finishers and your cars seem to have been quite reliable. Do you think that'll play into your hands?
It could. I do see some of the guys have bad luck with their turbo cars, either overheating or turbo issues. So I suppose we do have that when it comes to naturally aspirated cars. My car has had a bit of issues up till about, say, the first half of the year, but we've managed to iron that out. So yeah, if it all goes smooth, we could have a chance of maybe getting first, well, not a first place, but a second or third, if everything plays in our hands.
Paolo, tell us honestly, is there a sibling rivalry? Is there competition here?
Obviously off the track things are like lekker, but when the flag goes, I mean, we're like brothers and we're there to race. So I don't think there's much rivalry between us. I mean, it's cars is our thing, and also racing, like it's our thing to we enjoy it. So yeah.
I think you should have asked me that question. I mean, Paul broke out in qualifying and I wasn't allowed myself not to break out. So I had to come back in race one and break out as well. So there is a bit of rivalry, and I mean, it's part of the game and we have fun. And obviously what stays on the track, what we do during the track when the flag goes down to when it finishes is part of the racing, and we have fun.
As if it was anybody else.
Exactly, it's part of the game.
Well, let's see the two brothers in action in the Bridgestone BMW Club Racing Series.
Welcome to action from the Bridgestone BMW Club Racing Series at Zwartkops. This championship is hotting up in a big way. And a couple of new drivers coming through here for this weekend at Zwartkops, but the old guard are going to be looking to take the championship points and put them into the bag heading into the final stages of 2017. Round 6 of the championship and race 1 as they head down towards turn 1. It's BMW Adrenaline Corner, and it's, what a field of 23 cars heading down towards turn 2 now as they get hard on the brakes. You can see them all starting to sort things out in the mid-pack and at the front end. And as they come through turn 2, keep an eye out on those little battles that are going to start to rage. Remember, you've got 4 categories of racing here. A, B, C, and D, and they're giving it everything they can right from the word go. It looks like Familiaris and Loreos, and that's squared, of course. The 2 Familiaris and Loreos are going to be fighting hard at the front end. As we come up onto the braking markers, you can see a couple of changes there. Rian Vust starting to put his nose in, and the 747 just finding a way through there on Rick Loreo. Loreo tries to come back at him. Look at that, a new wing on the back of that little 325, and it looks like it's certainly working well for him, but he's got a bit of work to do. Oh, a massive moment there. That's huge. Big one there for Sean Lamprecht as he gets completely out of shape heading into turn 2. Looks like he might have just gone onto the inside and got it out of shape. Managed to catch it though, but I think there might be a little bit of damage. Craig Ball having a big look on the inside, not quite able to find a way through on Tyron Dawson. Dawson hangs on for now in the Yokohama sponsored car as it comes up under braking. Trying to close down on the battle just ahead. Can see not much in it between these 5 cars, and really super to see how close they've got. The Sav Speed machine starting to put a bit of pressure though onto the back end there, and I think that number 77, Dr. Philip Smith, is under a bit of trouble. Just ahead of him is the 100 car. That's Mike Krobler as we go on board here with Rick Loreo going down into G&H Transport Corner and up the inside of Vust. He comes straight back at him. Has he got what it takes? Yes, he does. Getting through on the M3 and finding a way past as they went along the start-finish line. Down towards turn 2 now. He's got a bit of work to do to catch up onto the back there, and it looks like by the way things are going right now, Paulo Loreo, with the lap times he's putting in, could possibly see himself being bumped out of B and into A. It's always a good thing to see the movings happening, but at this stage of the championship, because remember, he leads the championship overall, he's going to lose about 50% of his points if he breaks out and moves up to Class A. Hard on the brakes. Oh, what a move there. That's a big maneuver on the inside, and the 4-9 car just trying to find a way through there. I can see Anthony Marks hasn't quite made it stick, but he's definitely putting massive pressure onto this pack of cars now. There were 5, make it 6 cars now fighting for the top 6 to 10th place, and I can tell you Marks is not holding back. The Butler Motorsport BMW is certainly looking very dangerous. One is not looking as dangerous as always, and this is a big pity here for Lorenzo Gottieri. He is so far back, a little bit of issues there on the engine, and it hasn't allowed him to be at the front end battle. So he's got a bit of work to do. Hopefully they can get it sorted out for race number 2. Smith is still having some problems, and here comes 3x3 to the top of the hill. Can they make it stick? No, it doesn't normally end up that way. Into Sassel corner and hard on the brakes. Smith is on the inside. He finds a way through, and Mike Krobler gets demoted. As Krobler gets demoted, he tries to come back, and you can see a big move there from the 41 car off Tyron Dawson. Dawson tries to squeeze him out as well as they go through Kenwood. Double right-hander, watch for the flick over through Mix FM. Heading down the hill now and hard onto the brakes for GNH Transport. There's a move in the background as well. Craig Ball having a go. He has a long, extremely hard braking, but eventually gets through and he gives a little tap. Wow, Rubbings Racing coming out of GNH Transport corner, and you can see just how tight it is, but there were double yellow flags there. I think that's why Ball had to back out of that one and give it back to Dawson. Now as they come through there, he eventually makes it stick through turn 1, but they might have a little chat about that. I'm not quite sure if that was legal. We'll wait and see if the COC agrees with me. But heading out of turn 2 now, Ball has made a stick. Dawson going to come back at him, looking for a way through as they go through turn 3. Very close between those two BMWs. In fact, they're still side by side through turn 3, heading up towards turn 4. Dawson's back again. Craig Ball comes on the inside. Can he go later on the brakes? No, he can't. Even with the additional downforce of that back wing, he's not able to make it through turn 4. Turn 4, one of the quickest corners in the country, and a great job there from Dawson to keep out Craig Ball, but it's allowed Krobler a little bit of breathing space. Back down to turn 8. This is where he tried to make it stick the last time. There's no yellow flags this time, and this time he can make it to perfection. Gets up and gets away. Can he keep it all together now? As we come through there, we haven't really seen Julian Familiaris at the front end or Dino. The two of them have got away rapidly and have not really been troubled by anybody else. Paulo Roya, as I said, has moved up and has actually broken out of his class. So he's going to be moving up into Class A now from the Class Bs. That's always a good thing, but at this stage of the championship, it's costly in terms of championship points. Good to see this action. We're on board here with Jules. As he comes across the line, he's going to be a happy man with that victory, taking the first win of the day ahead of Dino. And Paulo Lorea comes through for a 3rd place there. Great job from him. Rian Vust takes Class B ahead of Andreas Meyer. Then it was Jason Page and Willie Erasmus taking the Class Cs. Ahead of Dr. Philip Smith, Mike Krobler. And Class D went to Jan Everstein ahead of Troy Cochran. Let's catch up and find out what happened with Lorenzo.
Look, the car was going really amazing, everything was going well, and then I think it was like lap 6 or 7, it just started misfiring, and yeah, the pickup sensor came loose, so I guess it's racing, it happens, so it's just nothing you can do, But yeah, let's hope the second race goes better.
Yeah, no, I'm very happy. Hell of a battle between myself, Mark and Philip Smith, the top 3 there. A lot of tussling on the top corners here, but yeah, no, I'm very happy, the car's going well, it's handling well, yeah, very happy with today.
Straight into race number 2 now of the Bridgestone BMW Club Racing Series here at Zwartkops. The Inland Championship are back in the house, and we've got 23 cars going to battle. Hard on the brakes into turn number 1, and now down into turn 2. They are 3x3 into turn 2. Oh, in the mid-pack, nearly 4x4. It's not 4x4 racing, it's BMW racing, boys. And what a start to this race. Cochran with a little issue there. You can see a little bit of smoke out of the bonnet there. That was a bit concerning, but I'm sure that car will carry on going. Gottieri has sorted his car out. There's no doubt about that one, as he hits the front for the first time and heads up the hill in the lead. So the Sav Speed boys have been working hard to get that car sorted, and it looks like it's absolutely to perfection. In 2nd and 3rd place and 4th and 5th, very, very close racing. The one car of Jules Familiaris is looking like it could be in a little bit more of a fight here than what it was in the first heat. He sits currently in 4th place. A little aerial material as they come through Mix FM. And as always, little packs of cars, like we saw in the first race, have now started to get together again. There's a problem for number 1. Familiaris is slowing down. There is a massive issue there for Jules. I wonder what's gone wrong with that car. Hopefully he can get it going again. Looks like he might have just had a gear issue there. He couldn't quite get it into the right gear, but he's got the drive again. Loreo under attack. This battle raged all of race 1, and you can see it's going to continue here as Vus goes on the outside. M3 versus, oh, it's so close. Look at that through Kenwood. They continue to be side by side, but the Viking mining machine eventually squeezes through there, and Loreo has to give it up. But he comes straight back at him, down into GNH Transport corner, has a look. No, not able to make it stick this time. These cars are very evenly matched in terms of power, and the driver's skills are almost identical. Then you can see Philip Smith still fighting there with the number 41. And I can tell you something, that number 41 car, Tyrone Dawson, is looking for an opportunity to make up lost ground. In the last part of race 1, he fell right to the back of the field. And he's now got some work to do now to get past Philip Smith. They go down towards turn 2, just in the background. Keep an eye out. Jimmy T coming along for the ride as well. Smiglio is not too far off in the Big Boss Auto machine, and he will certainly be looking to close in and fight with these two. He's got a very similar powered machine underneath him, and if he can just bridge that gap, we may have a three-way battle. In fact, we could have one-way here, as what a move there from Dawson. Forces the dock onto the dirty stuff. He had to come out of that one, otherwise could have ended up in tears and gone with a bit of a Sean Duminy down the back straight, but fortunately, just kept it all together. Here we go, in the mid-pack. Have a look at this, under braking. The 49 machine is right there, and I can tell you, Anthony Marks has had a great day. This time out, though, he's got Billy Erasmus. And Erasmus in the Speed and Sound and Big Boss car certainly knows what to do around this track, but it looks like he might be battling as well. There goes Krobler, just flying past him like he was looking for parking. There's an issue there on that machine, and I think Billy Erasmus is not quite on the same kind of pace as what he'd like to be. As he heads through turn 4, he's losing big ground there to Krobler as they head up the hill, and looks like a little bit of smoke coming out of the back of the Big Boss car. Liqui Moly, Speed and Sound and Big Boss are the sponsors on that car. The Viking mining machine comes up, and Krobler has another big look there as he heads up into turn 6, Kenwood corner, a double right-hander, and onto the back end there of Anthony Marks. Marks is in trouble. He has got this man and Billy Erasmus back into it as well as they come through too. Look how much ground Krobler has made up. He goes on the inside. Oh, the Butler Motorsport car unfortunately has to give way, and what a move there. Big and strong, and he forces his way through and is allowed to open up the door. Will Billy Erasmus take the opening? Yes, he will. Onto the back straight, Erasmus moves up one position and squeezes out Marks down to what is going to be a fight for the top 12 positions. These guys are not holding anything back. It's such a good dice here, and this is only in the mid-pack. It's what BMW Club Racing is all about. And the Bridgestone boys are very happy with the amount of coverage they've got out of this series, there's no doubt about it. Hard on the brakes, Familiaris has got his car sorted and squeezes through on Paulo Larrea. Now remember, this is now for Class A honours. Larrea has been bumped up and he's now officially a Class A competitor. And he's now going to have to fight hard. Lorenzo Gottieri, though, no issues at all this time out, and a great drive from him to take the second race victory. It looks like Jules has just squeezed through and got up into second place. So a good recovery from him to beat out Paulo Larrea for the top 3 in Class A. Vust, Page and Meyer taking the win in Class B, and Jason Page taking the driver of the day as well. Philip Smith takes Class C, and Jan Everstaan takes Class D.
It was a fantastic race. The car ran beautifully today. We were right on the edge of breaking out of our class, which 2 of my competitors did. So good luck for one sense and bad luck on the other, but we were all flying. It was a great day of racing, and yes, first place, so I'm happy.
It was a very tough race, a very hard race. We had to start off right from the back, so I had to fight my way through right from the back. So it was, of course, a really hard fight. But the car went very well, and I'm very, very happy.
Now let's check out the Yokohama Modified Production Cars and Silver Cup Racing Series.
Thanks, Mike. Real people, real racing. The Inland Championship is at a real racetrack at Zwartkops, the arena of motorsport, and big crowds coming out here to be entertained by the Inland Championship as always. In the NPCs, it's been a bit of a tight championship as well. We've just seen the action in the BMWs, but I can tell you, in NPC, it's also just as close for the top end of this championship. It's usually the Golfs versus the Hondas, and more of the same as they head down into turn 1 with George Economides trying to outgun the Hondas. There's a big mix of cars here. Remember, you've got our SRAs as well as all of the classes in NPC and Silver Cup, all in one category today. A big mixture and close to 30 cars on track, which is going to be a little difficult to try and spot them all, but we'll give you as best as we can. High-flying action as they go through turn 3. Nice to see the GoPro on the sideline. They're giving you an indication of just how quick these front-wheel drive cars are. And side-by-side action as they come through turn 4. Dalton trying to squeeze out and find a way through there on Giles Darroch. Same thing applies at the front end as there's a big move. Keegan Potters hasn't found a way past on Economides, and Economides right now seems to be the car to beat. The front-wheel drive cars really going at it here. You've got to know what you're doing when you're driving a front-wheel drive, particularly at Zwartkops. There's a lot of hard braking down here into turn 8, down into turn 2, and of course at the top of the hill into turn 5. Dalton still side by side, and Darroch, woo, giving him a little bit of rub, and Rubby's racing is what it's all about. Langerveld is on their tail. We go on board with him, heading down towards turn 2. He's got a little bit of a margin here. Can the Pro Staff and JDM Tuning Honda find a way through? I think he might have to go side by side there with the Golf on his inside. That should be Dalton. Yes, there it is, the Extra Shoes Golf It's still side by side. He has a look across as well. Tries to squeeze him out, but it's not able to be done. Eventually squeezing around the outside there. Dalton has to give up, and Langeveld eventually squeezes in. Now we've got Golf Honda. Problems here, unfortunately, for Jacques Meyering, the car specialist. Mitsubishi Lancer pulls in right on his tail. Here's the Varta Batteries Mazda. Yes, that's Franco Di Matteo in an EGI. That's similar to the cars that Ben Morganwood used to fight with Clive Rice. And speaking of Mazdas, is that the back end? Is that a little round bum? Yes, it is. That's an old 323 Tarzan car, giving it stick at the back there. Great to see that. And awesome stuff from Fiat Blichnout, doing a great job in the mid-pack there. He, of course, is fighting in a chance to win the Silver Club Class B. At the front end, though, the battle continues, and issues at the top of the circuit as well for the Toyota Celica. Wow. Brent Henshaw, that's not normally what happens with the Black Beauty, and unfortunately he's now parked at the top of the hill, just on the exit point of the top corner. That is Sassel. Here comes Blichnout Senior. He is loving that little 323. Man, that's one of the cars I learned to drive in, and it's certainly going like a bomb right now, giving some bigger cars a very good run for their money. And certainly giving that BMW a bit of a handful as well as he comes out of turn 2, or down towards turn 2, hard on the brakes. Oh, what a big maneuver here. Dirk Lawrence making a mistake. That you don't see every day. He is normally the man who is pin perfect every single time he gets onto a track. And a mistake there from the JDM Tuning Ballard has dropped him out of the way. Front end of SRA looking pretty tasty as well, and that little low cost is Andre Duplessis behind the wheel. Looks like he might be able to take the SRAs pretty comfortably, I think, over Kutsia. And Blichnout Jr. will be looking for an opportunity. On the sideline, though, one of the Golfs. And looks like there's another issue there for Paul van Niekerk. He's had an absolute nightmare of a season as van Niekerk. And I tell you, normally his car's also untouchable. Hodgson having some fun and games now in the mid-pack with the Polos and the Golf 2s. It's always nice to see little battles right the way through the field, but it's great to see the different marks and different versions of Volkswagen product in full flight here. A little bit of damage on the sideline of that Golf, and as they head through there, looks like that battle's going to continue. I can tell you the CRX has fallen back. That is Keegan Pottas, but that little Honda that's in that mix is looking pretty tasty. And the Ballard of Daniel Luves is giving these boys a good run for his money. But now he's got the leader coming through, and Economides is trying to make his way through on a whole bunch of cars. Shane Kroon in the way there ever so slightly. He doesn't have to worry too much because Evert Seifert in second place is quite a long way back. So I think Economides just biding his time, looking for opportunities so he doesn't get into the mixture and spoil the races for everybody else. And as they come down into GNH Transport Corner, he eventually gets through on Kroon and will slowly but surely make his way past on the little Ford Laser as well, as they head down into turn 1 and 2. Keegan Pottas, as I said, had some issues. He's fallen by the wayside here. He's slowly but surely been caught by Langeveld. Langeveld's got through on him. Here comes Dirk Lawrence. After spinning out, he's still been able to get himself up into a top 4, and that's a great bit of driving. As I said, normally a man who is pin perfect on every corner. Great to see maneuvers through the field. And I can tell you, George Economides' turbo car is going to be a tough car to beat here today. In amongst the Silver Cup, in amongst SRA, and see all mixed up there. SRA, of course, one of the Lotus boys, and the two cars just ahead of this little pack fighting for Silver Cup honours. The Lotus will probably have the squeeze through here into turn 3 if he's given enough room. But remember, with these guys being in slightly lower cars, and when I say lower cars, the Lotus being a slightly lower car, very difficult to spot them, particularly when in a saloon car and when you're fighting 2x2 like they are right now. Blichnout Jr., woo, out of shape, and it looks like the Honda's gone with him. Yes, indeed. Wow, Blichnout Jr. in the laser got it completely sideways, and the 5 car there of Luves also had to take evasive action. I think the little clip between the two of them, they're just putting both of them, but it looks like both have got back on track. The flag is out, and George Economides has taken the win. It's by 16 seconds over the Forenza there of Evert Seifert. And look how tight it was here between Derek and Dalton. These guys have fought for 10 laps, and that's how close it's been for all 10 laps. Economides taking the win in the Class T of NPCs ahead of Pottas and Paul van Niekerk, who ended up on the sideline. It's Langeveld, Lawrence and Peck in A's. B's goes to Dalton. In the SRAs, it was Duplessis. Great drive there from Seifert to take Class A in the Silver Cup. Blichnout Jr. taking Class B's. Keanu Fenter takes Class C.
Well, the BM was doing good, not overheating, and there was a few cars, but I tried my best to catch them. But then after the 4th turn, the gear lever broke, so I just had to finish just to get the points. But otherwise, overall, I'm very happy with the car. A bit of small things to do.
Sure, you're very happy. I think there's a lot of Mazda fans out there that are pretty happy as well. As we go now into race 2. Are we going to see more of the same? I can tell you it's going to be a possibility of very similar finishing order to what we saw in race number 1, but I think Keegan Pottis would like to just get a bit of retribution for possibly running out of something in the car at the end of race number 1. They'll come streaming through turn 2 now and heading up towards turn 3. It's Hondas versus Golfs, and there's a lot of Mazdas now thrown in for the mix as well, so it kind of can be a three-way here. Parked on the sideline though, Deanna Peck with a problem in the Golf and not even completing lap number 1. Battles continuing there. Golf 2s and Golf 1s and Hondas are what it's all about at the front. Just throw in Brent Henschel's Toyota Celica and that'll give you a little bit of a change up in terms of the usual contenders at the front end of this battle for NPCs and the Silver Cup. Combined with the SRAs today, 3 categories of racing, and each of them have basically 3 categories of their own to deal with. And problems as well, once again there. Looked like that might have been Richard Hodgson going to the sideline. Dalton though, in full flight, trying to close in on Langeveld and Henschel. 3 of them in a 3-way battle there for 3rd place. And it looks like the Honda just hanging on for now and looking for a chance to squeeze through. In fact, it's 4th place because just up the road you can see a good start there from Evert Seifert and Dirk Lawrence. This is the battle for 1st and 2nd right now, and Pottis is all over the back. He's trying to find... Oh, he's gone too hard! What went wrong there? Double yellows into turn 1, so he won't be able to make it a maneuver anywhere near turn 1, but he nearly got a maneuver into the sidewall of the main straightaway. Pottis is trying a little bit too hard there. Maybe some issues on the car once again. We did see some problems in race number 1. Shane Kroon, though, is applying massive pressure onto the jumbo Golf of Peck. Ishmael Peck goes defensive into turn 2. Holds onto the line, only just. The EV Dynamics team have got a massive team and lots of support behind them. And we're on board here with Kroon as he goes through turn 3. This is a great shot. The 8-valve Performance Golf 2 of Peck trying to keep out this little Golf 1. Now remember, the Golf 2, slightly better aerodynamics, but it is a heavier car. But in terms of handling, a little Golf 1, as we know, all around the world has been synonymous in front-wheel drive racing, and definitely a car that you do not want to mess with. It comes up on the inside. They are now side by side. It's 1 versus 2. Is the Golf Mark 1 going to have what it takes under braking into turn 5? Sassel corner, yes it is. Great drive there from Kroon. Sneaks up and Ishmael Peck gets demoted down 1 position and has to come back at Kroon in the EV Dynamics Golf 1. Out of Kenwood. Flickered through Mix FM corner now and down the hill. And a little bit further back in the field, you can see down the hill and coming into the back markers already is the leaders. Economides ticking them off 1 by 1, and I can see Pottis. Wow! Economides was so hot through turn 8. He nearly went right up the back of the BMW. Had to take evasive action. Fortunately, just missed that wing on the back of the BMW. That's given Pottis a chance. He's got a bit of a sniff now. He realizes that Economides sees the pressure being applied from him is starting to pay off. Now, let's see if he can make it stick, though. No, he can't. The CRX has just given up the ghost. Can you believe that? 2 out of 2. What a nightmare weekend there for Keegan Pottis. The Forenza now moves up into 2nd place. He goes through on the Cable Solutions BMW. And that's not a bad drive there from Evert Seifert Sr. Nice livery on the side of that car. Gold LeMay on gloss black. Always looks good. Here we go again. 649's in the house. Brett Lithnow Jr. trying to get this little EGI to work hard as he comes under braking and on the inside of 102. I can tell you that's not going to be an easy one. King Kenny is not an easy man to pass, particularly on track, and Darroch is having a great run there. The 2 of them fighting hard. Henshaw looking for a chance now. Can he find a way through? Yes, he can. He squeezes up the inside, and Paul van Niekerk has to give up the go. Yo, that was tight. He had to give it up ever so slightly. Henshaw put him under pressure, and he eventually found a way through. Look at the gap he's pulled now on Van Niekerk. Van Niekerk under trouble, and in big trouble here in turn 2, as there's a move from Langeveld. Looks like Van Niekerk has just been rattled ever so slightly there. Paulie is going to have to come back. He certainly wants to come back at Jeff. The battle between the JDM tuning boys and the EV Dynamic boys has been a big one all season long. And you can see Langeveld losing out there. Looks like Langeveld's actually got a problem. No, that's Pottis. That's Pottis, I beg your pardon. There is Langeveld going past his stablemate, the other Honda driver. And Pottis has now fallen right out of it. Coming up to the top of the hill. Here we go. Back to Kroon and Peck. Peck going to try and return the favour on exactly the same manoeuvre as what he had pulled on him. And there you go. Little deja vu, but has he been able to make it? No, not just yet. Kroon keeps him very honest and stays around the outside. They are still side by side through Kenwood. That's brilliant. Enough room being given, only just. I think we might see a little bit of wing mirrors flying there. Yeah, maybe, as they come down into G&H Transport. Here we go, Kroon later on the brakes. The bigger car probably a little bit more difficult to stop in a straight line, and that's why the slightly lighter Golf 1 squeezed through. But look at the power differential and the aerodynamics coming in here. Side by side, they've been through 4 corners. That is just top quality racing and what it's all about in the Inland Championship. NPCs are in the house here at Zwartkops, and Peck and Kroon are putting on a great show. They come out of turn 2, heading back to 3 and onto the back straight. And let's see how that's going to end up by the time the checkered flag comes out. Van Niekerk now under pressure from Langeveld again. They are continuing this little battle. This is for 5th place overall on the track, but remember, it's a turbo car versus a Class A car. And Langeveld will be very happy with the performance of his car if this is the kind of pace he's able to find. Van Niekerk is looking like there could be a problem here. Can Jeff Langeveld drive around? He's outside of turn 2. It looks like he might be able to. He finds some grip where there isn't any, and now tries to get the drive. There comes the turbo. It kicks in, and that's where he's losing out, unfortunately. The turbo just kicks in there, and he's got no answer. The Forenza on the inside and squeezing through there on our first SRA car, the Elite Racing low-cost road cam of Andre Duplessis. Looks like he's going to hang on for a double victory here in the SRAs. Championship, though, is going to be blown wide open. I can tell you something. George Economides has taken a great victory overall in the Martini Racing Golf, and looks like Kroon is going to keep Peck to the line as well. Safeat comes through for the Silver Cup win and Class A victory there as well. He did a great job there. But there you go. Confirmation. Class D to Economides. A's goes to Lawrence. B's goes to Dalton. And Class C going to Shane Kroon. In the Silver Cup, as I said, it was Evert Safat who took the win in Class A. SRAs went to Duplessis. Blicknote Jr. takes the B's. Fent to the C's. D's Hodgson. And Safat Jr. Class P.
This race was awesome. It was between me and Ishmael Peck for 2nd place. And yeah, it was really, really tight racing. And yeah, managed to take it home for the team, EV Dynamics.
Straight into the Midval Historic Car Club, and a nice field of over 40 cars coming to play here. A couple of the historic tour cars joining up with Midval Historics this weekend, and as you can see, great action expected right through the field. Brendan Parker is normally the man to watch out for at the front end of this field. Let's see if he's able to get his little machine up there. That Datsun GX Coupe of his is a very, very quick car. And as you can see in the mid-pack as well are a couple of other very quick cars. Yanni van Rooyen doing a great job out there and pushing hard in his Sirocco. And as they start to stream through there, keep an eye out on Travis Jensen. You've got Johan Coetzee Jr. in there as well. In fact, all the Jensens are there. It's Travis France and Petter. They're all having a great race, and you'll be able to pick them up pretty easily. That's one of them there, the yellow car there. I think that was France. And all of them in very similar livery. So keep an eye out on the orange, the red, and the yellow one. 77 is Sean Smith, another very quick Datsun, and certainly knows what to do in that 160Y of his, and giving a very good run for his money. And I can tell you it's not going to be easy to hang on there as we come through there. Rian Jacobs trying to hang on to him right now, also in a very similar Datsun. So it's Datsuns and Siroccos at the front end. In the mid-pack though, little Alphas getting into the mix too. And I think we might see some Mark 1 Escorts and Mark 2 Escorts come into play at the front very soon. Heading up to the top of the hill. Very, very close stuff between these drivers, and great to see another man who's done a great job in Historics, Andy Gossman, fighting hard in his Sirocco. So a very similar machine to what you'd see Yanni van Rooyen in. And you've got Gossman fighting at the front and pushing hard. 55, Eugene Goos in the Fiat 124, not too far off the back end there too, looking good. Whoa, and as I say that, Goos gets out of shape. Goos getting out of shape in that Fiat 124. Not usually the case that we see with him. And there you go. That's a massive moment. That's an engine blown on Alpha and lots of oil. So expect to see massive action now. Didn't quite get the number on that car. A couple of cars just been able to squeeze through there. But the red flag has come out. And fortunately, it has, because there is a lot of oil being dropped out of turn number 3. Dangerous position to be in. Where is our leader gone? Brendan Parker was leading this race, and unfortunately, as he stopped on the line, realized he had a slow puncture. Went back into pit lane to get it sorted out. We'll have to keep an eye on him coming through the field now as the rest of them start to get away. Lawrence van Zyl looking for an opportunity now in the second part of this restarted race. Eugene Goos has also been gifted a little bit of opportunity here after spinning out just before that Alpha Blue. He's now looking for a top 3 honor. 31 is Gossman. Gossman is under attack though. Look how tight it is between him and Sean Smith. Smith now applying the pressure on the inside into turn 1. Datsun versus Sirocco. And the little 160Y just squeezing out the Sirocco, and Gossman down 1 position. Porsche 924. There's Parker. Parker coming through there on that Porsche. So Steenkamp unfortunately had to give way as Brendan Parker starts to make his way back to the front. Checkered flag is out. The win goes to Lawrence van Zyl. The Alfa Romeo Berliner taking the overall victory. Eugene Goos, a great drive for Class G honours down there, but it was Dion van Vuren who won out Class E. Lawrence van Zyl taking the Fs, and Kobus Brits taking Class H. Race 2 action now. Look, 5 cars into turn 1. Well, eventually they go 2 by 2, but on the main straightaway there, they were 5 by 5. And Parker trying to keep up Van Rensburg and Jackie Morrison. Andy Gossman just behind there. You can see hard on the brakes in that yellow Sirocco, trying to get ahead and maybe put a little bit of ground between himself and the Jensens as they go through their Petter in the blue car. Just in the background. In fact, I said it was an orange one, but it's actually a blue one. Travis is in the red one as they head now up to the top of the hill through turn 4 for the very first time in full flight. The 5 car of Frank Davies. That little Mark 1 Escort looking pretty tasty as it hits the top of the hill now with a bit of pressure coming from behind. And the pressure being applied there is Johan Kutsia Sr. fighting hard with Sean Smith on the brakes and into turn 2. Senior hangs on, only just. Happy birthday, Callum. Yeah, great to see that on the side of the car. Just take a bit of white out and put it on the side of the car. That's what it's all about, but fortunately getting some TV time. So whoever Callum is, happy birthday. Hope you've had a good one. Brendan Parker certainly having a much better one here in race number 2. No worries about oil this time, hopefully. But we do have a couple of cars that have got an opportunity to drop some oil if they get into some trouble. So far, though, we've kept it all clean. And as you can see, coming down into turn 2 now. Hard on the brakes, a battle between the 2 Escorts. You can see one running with the big flare on the front wheels. The other one's just a little bit more standard, but very evenly matched between those 2. And Van Rensburg and Morrison are going to fight for 2nd and 3rd. There's no doubt they're still fighting. 2 by 2, side by side, down the back straight. Probably about 160, 170 k's an hour. It'll be a slight lift, maybe a gear down. I don't think it's a gear down because that didn't look like they even touched the gear knobs there as they came through absolutely side by side again. Now they get to the top of the hill. Can we go 4? Now we're going to go to 5. 5 out of 5 corners, and these 2 Escorts are still locked at each other's throats here. Unbelievable stuff. Morrison on the inside. Eventually has to give way. And it's Van Rensburg who just squeezes him out, but that's not done yet. They went for 5 corners side by side. Speaking of side by side, here's a move. As you can see, a big one on the inside there from... Oh! Frank Davis got it out of shape and tags the 210. Oh, Kutsia Senior is not going to be happy about that. There's a big dent in that back right-hand door and cars going left, right and centre to try and avoid the Roadworks car as it gets back on track. It doesn't look like Frank Davis has been able to get back on track. Eventually he gets back on, but he's a long, long way down. The gap between Parker has definitely closed in as the final flag comes out for the day. Parker takes the win ahead of Andy Gossman and Yannick van Rooyen. But in fact, René van Rensburg, winner of Class E, right on Parker's tail there at the checkered flag. Rian Jacobs in the lead and taking the win of F. Voss takes G and Croston H. Straight into the NX Legends. And these cars are certainly something fun to play with, but the racing is intense. And when I say intense, look at them down into turn 2. Because of the short wheelbase and the narrow bodies, you can fit 5 cars abreast into turn 2. Most of them finding a way through and starting to sort things out. There's some locking up of brakes in the mid-pack and eventually a car spinning out there. That's a huge one. Wow, Jordan Larson got it out of shape through turn 4. Eventually gets back on and now has to fight from the mid-pack. That's not an easy thing to do. Check at this action. Oh, we got a car out. Someone has spun out there. I think it might have been the 27 of Ian Upton. No, it's 88. Johan Juster just... Oh, look at that damage on the front end of that car. And great driving from Billy Erasmus to avoid him as they went down into G&H Transport Corner. Here's Erasmus once again. Still fighting hard there with Alton Bow. Alton Bow, the top young lion runner here, and looking for a chance to possibly take his first overall victory here in the NX Legends. He certainly has got to grips with these cars very well. He's moving up slowly but surely and ticking them off one by one. 68 Gerard Roux has now been caught and passed by the youngster. Billy Erasmus just behind looking to do the same thing. Alton Bow looking to get to the front end. Can he do this? This will be an incredible drive from the youngster as he goes through and finds a way through on the 146. Andrew Stadler had no answer there whatsoever. He locked up under the pressure being applied from the youngster, and what a drive. Richard Upton, though, unfortunately, is not going to be caught and passed, and the RU Racing Machine is going to take the first victory and the Class PU honours in the Pro category ahead of Andrew Stadler and Erasmus. Roux takes the M's, Marnus Duplessis takes SPs, and a great drive in the young lions from Alton Bow. Straight into race 2, Jordan Larson looking to make up some ground now, you can see, as he comes round the outside of turn number 1. He's made his way up into 3rd place as they come under braking for turn 2. But as they start to sort things out here, it's not going to be an easy day. And Larson, getting to the front end, has got Stadler right on his tail And then, yet again, what a drive here from Alton Bow. What has he been eating this morning? Did he put some Monster on his cereal? Because it's certainly working out. Maybe too much because he's got it out of shape. Oh, sorry about that, Alton. That was commentator's cursive note there. But what a shot. Did you see that on board? 7, 8, 9, 10 cars going left, right to avoid the spinning youngster. And the young lion must have had his heart in his throat there as they all went past and eventually missed him. Oh, that's what it's all about in NX Legends. You don't get better action than this. It's that close. Oh, problems at the front end though for Larson. He's lost the lead, and I think he might try and get back at it as soon as he can. It's Andrew Stadler who has gone to the front end as we see a car spinning out and off the circuit. Might be Steve Nell or Shell Nell. No, Shell Nell. Nell parked in the wall. That's a big pity. 9 is out as well, so Steve Nell also involved. I wonder if the two of them came together. Doesn't look like it's at the same point though. And the two cars there from the Nell SSS Racing are out of this race. Larson back to the front though. Round the outside of turn 4, he squeezes up and gets through on Stadler. Stadler now trying to come back at him. Look at the battle for third. Third place is Upton, race 1 winner. And on his tail, Willie Erasmus. Erasmus wants to get onto the podium. He's just off it, and he's only got about a lap to go. Yellow flag and safety car board out. Safety car board out there. That is going to help out Willie Erasmus. That's, of course, if they don't have to come right to the end. In fact, red flag as I say that. What a pity. They'll go 1 lap back there, which means that, unfortunately, Erasmus is not in the top 3. It's Larson, Stadler, and Upton. Roo and Van Heerden taking the Masters. Semi-Pros goes to Manus du Plessis, and Alton Bow yet again in the lead of the Young Lions. As we go straight into race number 3. Oh, it's non-stop action in NX Legends here today. Good to see a bit of manoeuvring being done there for Jan Jooste. Jooste back on track. What a great effort there from his team. 5, 6, 7 cars. You name it. They go 7 cars abreast into turn 4 here in NX Legends. And then eventually 2 by 2 back to the normal arc racing and back to the top of the hill. Alton Bow, as I said, has found something special here this weekend. Great drive from this youngster, fighting with a seasoned campaigner in Jordan Larson. Also a youngster, but having a great run here. The two of them going at it big time. A little bit of sideways action there, and more sideways action as we see. Is that Nell again? It is. Stevie out of shape and off the circuit once again. And it looks like going off in sympathy there, the 191 of Manus du Plessis. So maybe there were a little bit of issues there, a couple of cars. Just if you put a wheel wrong on these cars, just like that man has done now, and the leader, there must be oil. There's got to be something wrong there at turn number 1. That's 4 cars that have gone off in a very similar position, so I wonder if the COC has seen that. Here comes Willie Erasmus looking for a chance to squeeze through, possibly move up 1 position. He goes up ahead and gets through on Charles Roux. Charles Roux now trying to come back at him. Can he do it? 88 is the man who's made the biggest return here. Jooste, and as I say that, Jooste gets out of shape and nearly takes out. Wow! Steve Levine, you are so lucky not to be taken out there, bud. The Ziegler Racing car just being avoided. And down into the front end yet again. Upton versus Larson. The flag is waiting. Larson eventually going to take a win here. Upton going to take the overall for the day though, with 2 wins on the day and 2 second places. A great job there. Larson, Upton and Stadler. Ruru and Sean Moore in the Masters. It was Stevie Levine in the Semi-Pros and Alton Bow in the Young Lions.
That's it for this show. The next round heads to the tight and twisty Red Star Raceway on the 19th of August. We'll see you there.
You could be larger than life, bigger than the world, living out the hopes and dreams of every boy and every girl. You could fly higher than the sky, shine brighter than the stars. You could have all you ever wanted, shoot the moon and reach for Mars, you know.